You've probably heard the saying that feedback is a gift, but it can also be career altering. That actually happened for Ryan Vett, and he tells us about that critical moment coming up. Hi, I'm Karin Reed. I'm a four-time author, Emmy Award-winning broadcast journalist, and communication expert on helping people to own the room, whether it be a physical one or a virtual one. Welcome to Speaker Dynamics. Ryan, thank you so much for taking some extra time to talk about really what was a pivotal point in your speaking career. So tell us about it.
Yeah, I got a review after speaking. It was someone who heard me for a third time. The first time she was in an audience, the second time she was a meeting planner, and the third time in the audience again. And the review basically said, I finally understand why I connect with Ryan, or why I like listening to Ryan so much. And she said, because every time he talks, it feels like he's bringing us in the audience into his living room. And even though he has insight to share, he's not talking down to us. He's talking to us and inviting us in. And to me, that was one of the most profound messages that I had ever received, because I know my style, and some professional speakers think that my style is a little bit lax. And I definitely don't have, intentionally don't have the polish that some of these really choreographed speakers have. And part of that generationally, I would say is who I am. It's personality generational. It's a lot of things. But when I got this one review, it totally shaped my career, because I realized that this lady had seen me on stage, had seen me off stage, had worked with me. And there's this line of authenticity through everything that I shared and everything that I brought on stage. And I think authenticity as a public speaker, if you're in front of a boardroom presenting your slide deck, or if you're a professional speaker keynoting for thousands, authenticity just has this ability to connect people together, and makes you so much more relatable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're preaching to the choir on this one, because I'd always say, the best speakers are steeped in authenticity, and you're indicating that is the case for you as well. And do you feel like there are some misconceptions that those who want to be professional speakers have about being overly polished? Do you see that as a problem or a barrier that shouldn't be there for them?
I was at a event that I wasn't speaking at. I was invited, which was really fun. You don't get that a lot. And there was two keynote speakers. One was, I won't say what they're talking about, so they can't be identified, but one was super polished, choreographed, great information. And then the next person was the complete opposite, unpolished, still professional speaker. I mean, check the boxes, great storyteller, had the points, everything, but came, running up with crazy music, was really casual when people didn't do what he asked them to do. He would call them, just a very different environment. Mm-hmm. And everybody, even though the information was much, I wouldn't say lower quality, that's terrible, not as intellectually stimulating, more people walked away and acted on the second person, the unpolished person. And I say that because there was a sense of relatability. And so I think as a professional speaker, you absolutely have to have a version of polish, right? You can't, it's like if you have a car, you can go to the car wash and opt for the top package with the wax and shine and all of that and the tires, or the $7 package that just rinses it off. You still have to have a clean car driving up on stage. You can't have a dirty car. Right. Bad example. That was real time, but No,
I know. I actually really like that analogy. I think it's perfect. Yeah.
Okay, great. I'll write that one down for later. Authenticity, okay. Right? We're trying it out. But I think, so I think there is a level of professionalism, but that doesn't mean you have to, take 2 steps left, plant, stare all the time. That also means you can't have your hands in your pocket and be like, like today, that stuff's just, so there's this gap. But I think authenticity really needs to shine through.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was a client that I worked with for many years, and they had a different speaking coach before me. And, I was doing my initial train, my first one, and I always do like a baseline presentation, and to the person, everybody stood with their hands smack down at their sides the entire time. And finally, I'm like, folks, what's going on? Why are your hands glued to your sides? And they said, that's the ready position. And I said, ready for what? But they had been told, don't do anything with your hands because it'll be distracting. And I thought, do any of you, in fact, I said this to them, I said, do any of you speak like that? Do you communicate like that, where you stand with your hands, basically glued to your thighs? And
Mm,
none of them did. And I said, well, then what you are portraying is not an authentic version of yourself. And, that authenticity is what is going to resonate with your audience, and they will see through anything that looks fake. So, I obviously agree with you. And, was it difficult though for you to allow yourself to be authentically you, especially
yeah.
early on?
Yeah, I think it's it's super difficult, and I think we all, whenever we get in front of a stage, you have this thing called imposter syndrome, and you feel that you are not worthy to be on a stage. And I wouldn't say that I don't get that anymore, but I've learned to put that aside to say, hey, I have a unique perspective on this issue. It's like a car accident, which I know is a morbid example, but there's, if people are looking at it from two different perspectives, there's the perspective from the north, perspective from the south, and what actually happened. And I think every single time we come into a room, the important thing is not that you're the expert, but that you have a unique perspective, and that can help shape someone's opinion, or maybe they'll agree complete or not agree any at all and think the complete opposite, but you still help shape an opinion. That's really what you're there to do, is to help people change for the better, whether or not they agree with you. And so I think as I learned that and put that aside, that hey, my goal is not to persuade everyone to think the way I do, but to get people to start to think, period. That kind of helped me put imposter syndrome aside and really focus on my goals to catalyze this thought, to catalyze this idea of people moving from point A to point B, even if our point B is different directions.
Yeah, and I'm going to paraphrase this quote because I'm not going to get it right. I don't have it in front of me, but it was Chris Anderson from TED. He was the head of TED, who said, your only job in giving a talk is to have a valuable message to share and to say it in your own authentic way.
Yeah.
And, I think that that's just the perfect way of summarizing what you just said. It's not that you're there to entertain as your primary mission. Your primary mission is to deliver a message that is valuable for them, that will inspire. And obviously, you do that immensely well. So, Ryan, thank you so much for sharing this extra time with me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Karin.